One thing that we can be certain of in the Word of God is
Okay, so part two of your part one. Okay, so faith produces obedience. The Bible tells us that a faith without works is dead. Okay, and we are to show that we are in faith by our works. Oh, listen to that wording. Isn't it beautiful? And it is because we are obeying. We are obeying. If you are not in faith, then you are not producing works. If your faith is dead, right? And you know what Jesus also says is that we prove to be his disciples by bearing fruit. That obedience to God is bearing fruit. So if you're not obeying, then you're not in the faith, you're not bearing fruit, you're not proving to be Jesus's disciple, you're not Jesus's disciple, and you go to hell. Go figure. Now, you talk about Abraham believed God and it was counted to him for righteousness. Yeah, it doesn't mean that Abraham believed God existed. Demons believe God exists and they tremble, right? But they don't obey him. And guess where their eternal judgment's going to be? In the pits of hell, because they chose not to obey him. Whereas with Abraham, there was the belief that God promised him that he'd be the father of many nations. Now, he never lived to see that, but he had the faith to believe, right, that God's promise. But also, when God told him and commanded him to do something, he believed God. He feared God, and he went out and did it. The times that he didn't do it, judgment did come upon him. God's severity did come upon him. But we ignore those parts of the Bible, don't we? Do you know that when Moses chose not to speak to Pharaoh, but ask God to send someone else to speak to Pharaoh, it doesn't say, oh, God, and God like lovingly just sent someone else to speak to Pharaoh, and here comes Aaron. No, it said the Lord was angry at Moses. The Lord was angry at Moses for not obeying. He was. Everyone forgets that part. They just continue on going, oh, but he sent Aaron. Yeah, doesn't mean God was okay with Moses. God was angry at Moses. God still just needed to get his work done. So if you're not willing to do his work, he'll move on to someone else. And this is going to require a part three.